like to call October 18th, Blissfield Village, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take roll, Lisa.
Valdez,
Here, Lee County, Florida.
Windusa,
Present.
Mike Gunner,
Present.
Barwick Henry, James Dyson,
Present.
Jerry Hayes,
Present.
Timothy Waters,
Present.
Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is asking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
We have a motion by James and seconded by Tim to approve the agenda as presented. Are there any discussions? Seeing none, Lisa, would you take roll?
Tim,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
the recommended motion passed. Item 3 on the agenda is the public comment. If anyone would like to speak at this time about the item on the meeting's agenda, please come up to the podium, sign in, and state your name for the record.
Yes, I will. Roger Schoonover, 318 East Jefferson Street. I sent a couple of you email, then I thought, oh, I'll just go and make comment to the person. We're in a tough spot as far as the public is concerned. We don't know who to support. The council or Police Chief Greenleaf. We have no facts. We have nothing. And just for a little transparency, for me, there's a little more personal thing here, and I don't even know Chief Greenleaf. But my father was a police officer in Traverse City, Michigan. He was a police officer in Hollywood, Florida, and he was terminated wrongly. He went through a lot of stress. He was reinstated. But the damage was done. He had to leave, he left town, got another job with the federal government. But I just hate to see or read about an officer lose his position if it's not truly warranted. Now, again, we don't know any facts. We elect you to represent us, and boy, believe me, no, I don't want your job. I don't think I could do it better. I hand it to you, you know. There's a lot of other more interesting things you could be doing, I'm sure, and enjoyable things, but I do appreciate the work that all of you do. So having said that, I'll just shorten it up in that I just want everyone to do what's right, do what you know is right, and you've got good reason, something illegal, something where he's violated the Constitution, the law, hey, you know what, you're looking out for us. But if there's some other reason that really isn't warranted, something that can't be handled internally by you, in other means, you know, I encourage you to do your best to keep Chief Greenleaf. And that's it. Thank you very much.
thank you, Roger.
Chuck Emerson, 367 South Monroe. I just have a question. Why are we having these meetings right now? And we're not going to discuss anything because you can't discuss anything about the police chief. So if this isn't an open, I mean, it's an open meeting, but you're gonna go into closed session again. What's the point? Why have them if you're gonna go into closed session because nobody can say anything? It's gonna make any difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Mr. Shader, would you like to address anything that Mr. Emerson just stated at this time?
I'd love to. I would love to have the opportunity to give a full-blown seminar for the benefit of the entire public on the requirements of the Open Meetings Act and the kinds of hoops, if you wish, and technical requirements that you all have to comply with in order to conduct the business of the village. We don't have the time. I'm not prepared to do it. But in short, all meetings at which a quorum of the village's governing body or any committee of the village, planning commission, zoning board of appeals, anywhere where there's a quorum must be conducted at open meeting and in an open meeting. The Open Meetings Act provides that under certain circumstances to discuss certain kinds of things, personnel issues being one of them, legal strategy and settlement negotiations being another, that the governing body can go into closed session, but they have to open in an open meeting and then move to go into closed session for the stated reason, and then do that and deliberate in closed session if they choose. Then they have to come out of closed session and reopen their open meeting so that you can participate in that. And they have to disclose if they take any action or intend to take any action in a closed session or as a result of that closed session, they have to do it in an open meeting. They have to announce what they've done. These folks don't like it any better than you do. It's certainly no picnic for me. You know, I'm accustomed to standing up in courtrooms in front of judges and juries and telling it like it is. But you all know, or most of you know, I hope maybe most of you don't, that would be better. Because the vast majority of people have never been in the courthouse, let alone in a courtroom. There's lots of things that go on behind closed doors. We're kind of fortunate in this context in that we have to tell you we're going to do that. That's not the kind of thing that happens in the courthouse, I can assure you. But I think I can say with a fair degree of confidence that not one of these council persons likes the idea of what's going on here any better than you do. And I assure you, I don't.
Thanks, Phil. I just, I'm not up. I just wondered why that was. And that was all. I mean,
You can thank the state legislature for that. See, to whom, by the way, the Open Meetings Act doesn't apply.
well, I appreciate, I appreciate the fact that I wouldn't want you guys to job either.
No,
Let's face it, I talked to Jerry about it, and Tim, and hey, it's a thankless job.
I just made a mistake. The Open Meetings Act doesn't, I think, does apply to the state legislature, but the Freedom of Information Act doesn't.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Item number 4 on the agenda is a recommendation for a motion to go into closed session.
I move to go into closed session at 7:09 PM per MCL 15.268 E and H. Continued discussion for settlement demand in the matter of continued employment of Dale Greenleaf by the Village of Blissfield. Support.
We have a motion by James and seconded by Tim to go into closed sessions at 7:09 PM per MCL .15.268 E and H, a settlement demand in the matter of the continued employment of Dale Greenlee by the village of Blissfield. Is there any discussion?
I don't think he applies to this situation, as I've stated before. There's no specific pending litigation. I think pending litigation is something that's already been filed at the courthouse. Just using names here, Smith versus Jones, Lenawee County Circuit Court. It's a pending case.
And I just left that for consistency, so you guys know that was just, it was there last time, so.
And if we're following under H, to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute, I'd like to know what those statutes are.
Question, Jerry, for my clarification. Is this something that you're asking for clarification from?
Phil? Yeah, I wish you'd have asked me that before we got here, Jerry, so I could have had it for you, but if you insist, I'll take the time to look it up for you. Me.
Just have the opportunity to join us.
I just looked a bit ago and I did not see her on here.
She was on at the beginning, and then I don't know if maybe something happened or
Would it be appropriate for me to text her or not appropriate at this time to see if she's participating or not participating?
she knows it's for participation only, but I mean, you can certainly text her. She does have a separate link if we do go into closed session.
I will just text her to see if she plans to participate or does not, so we know.
Because I did see her name when we first started, and then like I said, it did fall off, so I'm not sure.
Or Phil is doing that. I just want you to see that I was doing this and doing something correctly.
Coming up next Wednesday through Friday, and the clerk. Wednesday through Friday. Anytime during the week. Technically, then you have one, right? Yeah.
I don't have it. I didn't want to cite back to the. I mean, if it's really
Yeah, 268A would also be applicable. But that would be at his request.
Exactly, and I'm not trying to be a pain here, what I really, I wanna make sure that we're doing things the right way.
Gary, I could research the Michigan statutes, and I would have if I'd known you wanted to know.
And
And I
I'm sorry.
assure you that there are Michigan and federal statutes that provide for the attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
And what you're talking about today was initiated pursuant to a written opinion from me.
Okay.
And that makes what you're about to talk about attorney-client communication, and therefore confidential and therefore exempt from the open meeting provision.
I wasn't trying to blindside you, I just wanted to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Because you mentioned some of us have never been in a courtroom, that's where I don't want to be.
So would it be appropriate if I continue? We're all set?
In my opinion, yes.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for discussion? Lisa, we're gonna need to change that time frame to 7:16, please. So we have a motion by James and seconded by Tim to go into closed sessions at 7:16 PM per the MCL.15.268 E and H, a settlement demand in the matter of the continued employment of Dale Greenleaf by the village of Blissfield. Lisa, would you please take roll? Oh,
I have a question, can she change the time if she didn't make the motion?
As long as it's a friendly amendment to do so, we do need to accurately report the time that we're going into closed session, because any conversation or discussion held current right now is an open meeting in the public.
Would you like me to state the words for a friendly amendment and restate this?
That's up to you guys. If the first and second agree to it and don't have any complaints,
That's fine.
Okay.
Do you want to make it in the future?
Yes, why don't we go to 7:20?
7:20?
Yes, please. Okay, so we'll have a friendly amendment then, Lisa, for clarification. Once again, to have a motion by James and seconded by Tim to go into closed sessions at 7:20 PM per MCL.15.268 E and H, a settlement demand in the matter of the continued employment of Dale Greenleaf by the village of Blissfield. Please take roll. Mike,
No.
Tim,
Yes.
Gwen,
yes.
James,
Yes.
Jerry,
No.
The motion passed.
Yeah.
No, I believe.
The motion passed, but I think it requires a 2/3 vote.
Thank you. So,
Motion dies.
so we do the, and okay, I'm asking, do I go ahead and,
it's a special meeting, so there's no other business that can be discussed that we would have to publish 18 hours in advance. So if we don't go into closed session, there's meeting is over.
okay,
Oh, I mean, you can wait public comment and then adjourn. Correction, sorry, I should clarify that, but
so we're all set with that page, so, I'm just checking my notes here, okay? So then we're on to item 5, public comment. Then number 6, item number 6 on the agenda is the adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move we adjourn the meeting. Second.
We have a motion by Jerry and Mike, excuse me, we have a motion by Jerry and seconded by Mike to adjourn the meeting. Is there any discussion? Yes, there is. What happens now?
there's discussion on, I'm sorry, there's.
I guess there's discussion, we're entertaining the motion to adjourn the meeting, and Jerry has made the motion and Mike has adjourned, or has seconded. Is there any discussion? And I say, yes. What do we do now regarding chief? Is this the time we can
I'm
ask
sorry,
this or not ask?
I was listening on that bell at the same time.
Is this where I ask that, or when does this? Chuck, this is a great question, isn't it? Because we want to know and when this is ever gonna finish. I understand.
And here again, like I talked to you folks a couple weeks ago. Everybody's got sides, everybody's got things that questions answered, but here you are, you have some public
I
and they're
understand,
very concerned.
as you should be.
And Bill's explained it, he explained things to me.
But here we all are tonight and we're hoping to get
Yeah,
some sort of a
and
resolution.
We're not,
Nothing's going to take place tonight. We paid for an attorney to be here. We took your time, we took our time, and nothing's going to be taking place. We're moving in a direction of some
that's,
sort.
and I think that's all anybody wants.
I can tell you that this council member would like some movement forward, backward, sideways.
Yeah, something.
So,
But I understand where the legal end of, hey, offer him his job back, see if he'll take it. And if he turns it down, what can you do then?
Absolutely,
No,
absolutely.
yeah, it's a special, so we are limited to what was published because we have to give proper notice. So the next step would be, one, we require 18 hours for a special meeting. We would have to post again and coordinate schedules, what that would look like. Two, our next regular scheduled meeting is next Monday, the 25th.
Let me ask you this, can we go back?
The motion on the table,
Died.
it's died at this point.
We can reconsider the motion.
No, are we allowed to do that?
I would defer to Phil on that. I don't, can you read once it's failed? I don't, I think you've already voted. I don't think you can.
What would be different about it? The purpose of reconsideration is typically to defeat a motion that's been passed. I don't know if you, I don't know, honestly, I'll be honest about it, I don't know if you can reconsider a motion to pass one that you've already rejected.
Can we make any more comments out here?
I don't know. Can,
I don't think it would hurt at this point. I mean,
Okay, I know when you commented that you want this done.
no, I would like to have, no.
Move on.
I would like to have some movement.
Okay,
Whatever that movement is, I don't know, but I would like to, the special meetings, this, I'm going with what Chuck is saying and what Roger's saying, the transfer, I wanna just get this out there. so we
and
can-
I'm sure
yeah.
these other two councilmen want to do that also, but they're not gonna just roll over and say, okay, we'll
But
go
if we
ahead
go
and
into-
we'll agree with you.
But there's no agreement necessary. When we go into closed sessions, there's a discussion. There doesn't have to be a vote or anything, but there can be discussion about when we met last time and we left, the idea is that we were gonna come back and have some discussion, hopefully going in some direction. Now that's put on the back burner once again, that there will be no direction. I'm getting frustrated with that portion of it, that like you, I'm also a resident. I was hoping that we would be able, the board would have discussion. And I don't know what that would lead to, Jeannie, but it would lead to discussion.
Right.
And we can't discuss, because we can't discuss this if we don't go into closed sessions. I can't discuss this with these guys. I can't discuss it with these guys.
Well,
So how do we go, how do we as a team, how do we as a board make movement if we can't discuss in closed sessions?
I don't see the council as a team right now. My husband was on the council, Mark Bergmeister, for almost 12 years. And this never, ever, did this ever happen when he was on the council.
I understand.
I mean, there would be disagreements, I'm not saying there weren't, but they would talk it out. Hour later, things would be fine.
I understand.
That's not the way this council is.
I
And it's a
understand.
shame,
I
because
understand.
again, just like a young girl said last week or whatever it was, we elect you people.
That's correct.
And right now, I could say the majority of people in here aren't happy with what's going on with Dale Greenlee. I don't even want to say, yeah, I want to say Chief Greenlee, because he is still a chief.
I will not disagree with you. Jeannie, you're
And
right.
as far as anything personal that's going against him, what he did, what he didn't do, is totally wrong.
I can't address
Well,
that.
see,
simply
I know
because-
you're saying that too,
No, I can't.
but I
Can
have
address
heard from
anything
very
about
good sources that some people do know what's going on the outside. From certain council members.
that? Okay.
So, you know, you can sit up there and talk till we're both blue in the face, but we know different.
Okay, if that's,
The way I see it, we can reconsider, but it would have to be a motion on the prevailing side, prevailing.
Right, that's what I just looked up to.
That's what I was gonna say, it doesn't make any, it doesn't, sorry, yeah, Jake Mormon, 500 Gypsy. It doesn't make a ton of sense if you can reconsider a motion that passes with the intent to reverse it. If one went to a stalemate, you should be able to do the same thing, I would think, I mean.
I'm leaving it up to them, whatever they tell us to do,
Right.
we'll be glad.
I'm not
to
an
do.
expert.
Okay, this is according to Robert's rules. Motion to rescind or amend something previously adopted. It's got to come from the prevailing side, requires a majority vote. So it would have to come,
The hard thing though, so that's what you guys actually did on the 11th, you amended a previously made motion. I guess my concern is special meetings were limited to what was published.
so it would be just a motion to reconsider going into closed session.
And I don't know, I just
you
want
know,
to be careful that we
And
don't.
the only reason I voted no is because I'm not 100% sure we're doing this the right way, as far as the law goes. That's the only reason I voted no. I want this whole situation over and done with, as much as anybody else that's sitting up here.
Or out there.
Or out there, yeah. You guys vote for us, so.
What is
I've
your
lost
uncertainty,
sleep over
Jerry?
this situation.
Jerry, what is your uncertainty? What question do you have about the legality of what has been proposed to you? Is there some question about, is there,
Yes,
let me finish.
you interrupted me first. So go
Is
right
there
ahead.
some question about whether this issue came to you as a legal, on the basis of a written legal opinion?
Somewhat, but I am more so just going by the letter of the law.
Well, we can produce the written request.
It should have been produced farther,
It's been
Before
produced 2 or
this.
3 times now.
not the specific statutes.
No, the request that you consider a written legal opinion in closed sessions, and that's all that's required under H. That is the statute that applies. I don't mean to argue with you, Jerry, but all you're doing is obfuscating here.
I'm not obfuscating anything.
You sure are.
No, I'm not.
To consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute.
That's correct.
Can I ask one question? It will take you 5 seconds to answer.
I have no issue with, I just need to make sure that we're doing this as correctly as
Right.
possible, and you understand
Yeah.
that. Danielle, with this,
Yeah, I mean, we've not adjourned, so we could still
Okay.
take public
It's just a
comment.
quick question,
Sure.
and Chuck brought it up.
Mhm.
Can we clear this all up? Is it possible? Yes, no, maybe. And he may decline. To offer him to stay as our police chief, and we'll be done with everything. Is that possible?
I don't believe that we can discuss this at this time. That's Gwen saying that, Bill?
I mean, that's just a question of, is it legal? Is it possible? I don't
Would it
think
be
there is.
possible, is that a possible remedy? Is that your question?
Yeah, Chuck, I mean, he had a great idea.
Many things are possible.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, maybe yes or no. You don't have to, I understand you can't talk about any details or anything. I get it. but-
When members want to change their minds about a motion that was just voted on, they can reconsider the vote.
That's not what he asked.
No, I know,
No,
but
she's
I'm
answering.
answering
This other
their
issue.
question about the other issue
Hang on,
that
Rob.
I'm still looking at.
Okay, I get it.
That question I can't answer, I apologize, but going back to the previous about amending, so it can't be amended, you would have to reconsider the vote. And it would need 2/3 to be adopted, it says to.
And how is a vote?
Have a motion to reconsider the vote.
And much like Jerry, I want to make sure we have our ducks in a row. I mean,
Then if you'd like to make sure the ducks in a row, why do you think we discussing it now will change? Meaning if we go into asking, if we go into the closed sessions and there's discussions and whatever would result from that, will we come back to your same concerns, meaning, well, whatever is done, if anything is done, will you still come back to your concerns about the legality of it, is what I'm asking you guys. Because what good is it to go back, to go into the closed sessions if you're still gonna stay, and I'm not arguing that point, if you're still gonna question the legality, will we just be back to where we are now? That's what I'm asking.
That's the way I feel, but
Well, that's what,
and it's also the matter of moving into closed session, you know, do we move into closed session at his request? I mean, we haven't even had.
You moved into the closed session was at the request of the village president, as I understood.
is the reason that the closed session was asked for is because it has to do with personnel?
No, it's because it has to do with the written opinion of your attorney.
Okay, so hence the reason, there's our legality there. It would seem that if our attorney is suggesting this, that we would have faith in our attorney and we would go forward with that. That's just where I'm sitting from.
So
But if you guys are not.
I did find some more too. It can't be brought up at the same meeting. If a main motion is defeated, it can't be brought before the assembly again at the same meeting unless it is a substantially new question, which it can't be because we're in a special meeting. And then it says procedures to reconsider vote. It can be brought up again at another meeting as if it were a new motion. So the motion has died tonight. At this point, we could take additional public comment and then we can adjourn, and that is, we're limited.
Say that again to me then, Danielle.
At this point, the motion has died, so there's nothing else we can do but take any additional public comment and then adjourn the meeting.
Okay. You all heard what Danielle has had to say. Does anybody have anything that they would like to say at this particular time?
I had already made a motion to adjourn. And
You
my
had.
second.
You had, but we were still taking questions even as we were having. I'm not arguing with what you're saying, Jerry. I agree, but we were still taking questions because of the.
Jerry, you can call for the question. That would call for the vote.
Call for the question.
There's a motion in support.
Yes.
So that
So
means
call
you
for the
have to
question.
move forward with the motion.
It goes straight to the vote now, Lisa.
Okay, so that's, okay, all right, thank you. So we're gonna go ahead and go with the motion was, we have a motion by Jerry and seconded by Mike to adjourn the meeting.
Yes.
We're set with the discussions. Lisa, please take roll.
James,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
And the motion passed. Meeting